What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Watchtower podcast, the non-Jehovah's Witness Watchtower podcast. That's right. We're bringing it to you live with no white shirts and black ties. This is episode 108. It's going to be always watching. And there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things developing that all include watching and tracking us. And so we're going to be talking about some of that stuff. Let's see here. If you guys caught me with Tom earlier, you got a sneak peek. We're going to be talking a little bit about what's going on with Nigeria's banking system. I know a lot of people are like, okay, it's Nigeria. What's up with that? Well, what's going on in Nigeria is going to be going everywhere else. So it's important that we always pay attention to some of the smaller things. So we're going to be talking about what's going on with Nigeria. We got some other stuff coming up that I can't even remember. I got to cheat and look ahead. We've got some stuff, reverse ATMs. This is more about the push of getting people off cash and whatnot. We're going to be talking about that. There was a new vitamin patch that is, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the, the quantum dot tattoo. And so we're going to talk about that as well as the mark of the beast, kind of go into some things on that. Then we've also got some things as far as Amazon's Sidewalk project, which is very interesting and dystopian in nature. And then we're going to talk a little bit about just bracing for June. We all know what's coming up in June. So we're going to be talking about that as well. So, but before we do that, I want to get you guys involved because I think that's extremely important. And there is somebody in the house that I want to specifically point out. If I can find her, she probably knows that I'm hunting for her right now. Where are you? There you are. Everybody, welcome back, Farah. Farah is back from Israel. It's so good to see you, Farah. You were missing for a while. I know a lot of people in the chat were missing you and asking about you and whatnot. So we are glad to have you back, Farah. So welcome back, everybody. Everybody say welcome back to Farah because we love Farah. So glad to have you back. And let's see what else we got going on. We've got Betty Lou is in the house. Hello, Betty Lou. We've got Joey. What's going on, Joey? Good to see you. We've got the mom to three. Good to see you. Peach is here. She's saying howdy to Liz. So I'm guessing Liz is here somewhere. Looks like we've got Trish as well. And Kim. Kim is here as well. Quito Mama is here. Looks like we've got Patricia Schultz. And she messed up with the oops. Good to see you, Patricia. Murgy's here. Looks like we've got just Vicky as well. Looks like Not of This World is here. We've got Carly. How you doing, Carly? Good to see you. We got Ski. Cool videos. What's going on, Holmes? Good to see you, man. Julie is here as well. We've got Linda. Hello from Lexington. Well, hello from Texas to Lexington. Good to see you. There's Liz. There she is. And we've got Coco. What's going on, Coco? And Terry. Good to see you guys. I can't get to everybody. I apologize if I missed you. There's so many people, so it's not that I don't like you. It's just I can't get all of you. So good to see you guys. Glad you all are here. So, looks like okay. I'm gonna point this one. Send me 10,000, and I'll introduce you to the Nigerian prince. What's going on, KW? Good to see you, man. All right, so good to see everybody here. Glad y'all are here. And we are going to go ahead and get into some housekeeping.
Housekeeping?
No, thank you. Sleeping.
Housekeeping?
All right, so with some housekeeping, got some stuff going on. Before we get to those announcements, first things first, usual spiel. If you guys can, like, share, and subscribe. Get this out to as many people as you can. I definitely appreciate the support as just liking, sharing, and subscribing. That's a huge support. It helps get it out to people, and that's the focus of why we do this. It is not about views. It's not about butts and seats, but it is about getting the warning out to people, getting people to Jesus and Jesus to people. That is why we do this. So that does help with that. Also, if you guys can, follow me, Rumble, Odyssey, Telegram. We discovered with the past week when I was thrown in YouTube jail how important it is that you guys follow me on at least one of those backups, preferably Rumble and Telegram. Odyssey's there is just like a break in case of emergency type of thing. But yeah, if you guys can follow me there as well. Also, I'm sure I put it in my Telegram. A lot of people know I was on with Tom earlier. He had me on as a guest on Hope for Our Times. Super grateful for that. I love Tom, so that was a good time. So it's on his website, on his app, if you want to check it out. And then tomorrow they will post it on YouTube. When the YouTube link comes out, I'll throw it in Telegram. Also, coming up on Thursday, this is going to be cool. I was honored with an invite from Kurt Reed to join his program on Thursday on his Maranatha update. I think that's what it is, midweek Maranatha update. So that's going to be really cool. I love Kurt, and that's going to be a really good time. So I can't wait to. This will be the first time we do anything together. So that's going to be really cool. So make sure you check that out as well. And for the last announcement, okay, so. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and it's technically going to be the 31st. Now, I guess I'm kind of doing this more for myself, but I don't want to make you guys wait until the 7th, which would be the next, officially the first Wednesday of the month. So I'm going to go ahead and release June's bobblehead tomorrow. Because I don't want to wait until the 7th. We kind of got robbed when the first Wednesday fell on the month. So, yeah. So tomorrow at noon, June's bobblehead video will be tomorrow, and kind of did a little extra work on it, and so there's a couple of upgrades on it. So. Hope you guys enjoy it. That'll be coming out tomorrow at noon. Usual clip video at 8 a.m. Central tomorrow, and then at noon, bobblehead video. So that'll be coming out tomorrow as well. All right, that's all we got as far as announcements. I got you guys involved, and so it is Tuesday. We are going to take a dip into what's going on with natural events. What we do is we keep track of large-scale or important region earthquakes, and then we just kind of keep track of how many volcanoes are going on and where, and just kind of seeing how the scale goes up and down as far as volcanoes, if you guys don't know. So as far as earthquakes this past week that are quite large, there's a few of them. So we got a 6.1 in Vow, New Caledonia. If you guys don't remember last week, New Caledonia was getting rocked by a bunch of earthquakes. But yeah, so there's a 6.1 in Vow, New Caledonia, 5.5 quake in Pacific Atlantic Ridge, 6.2 quake in Las Palos, East Timor. Then there was a 6.5 quake in Akande, Colombia, 5.5 quake in southeast of Loyalty Islands. There's a 6.1 in Asahi. Yeah, Asahi, Japan. 5.9 quake in West Chile Rise. 6.0 in Niafu, Tonga. Then there was I can't read my own handwriting. 5.5 in South Sandwich Islands. 5.6 in Kirakira, Solomon Islands. 5.7 southwest of Africa. That was kind of in the middle of nowhere, but still. And then a 5.8 quake in the volcano islands of Japan. As far as volcanoes, there are 42 volcanoes actively erupting right now. That's up one from last week. We just seem to be going 41, 42, 41, 42, just on and off. 6 in North America, 6 in South America, 2 in Europe, 3 in Antarctica, 4 in Africa, 14 in Asia, and 7 in Oceania. So not a whole lot going on as far as volcanoes, but the Lord be shaking the earth right now as far as quakes. So, okay, that's it. We're going to go ahead and get into this. You guys ready? Let's do this. Make sure I'm ready. There we go. Okay, so let's get into what's going on with Nigeria and this digital currency as far as what they got going on. So we know the time is coming for a move from untrackable fiat to digital currency. We've been talking about this a lot. We know the introduction of CBDCs is coming. We've talked about the Unicoin and the icebreaker system, how putting those two things together basically creates the foundation for a one world currency and a one world economy. We've talked about all that stuff. But now we're just kind of waiting for the small, quote unquote, small things as far as digital IDs to be rolled out, because you need a digital ID in order for a CBDC to follow. And so we're seeing transitions globally to get everyone to that digital ID so the move to CBDC can take place. Now, we've talked about with Sam Altman's World ID, a part of his World Coin system, where it's biometric scanning of the retina, taking scans of the retina and attaching it to a digital ID for their e-wallets. And this is something that he's been working on, but a lot of other people have been working on it, and Nigeria is one. And one place that's been in hyperdrive as far as getting this going is Nigeria with the launch of their e-Naira, that's their CBDC over there. We also just talked about how the Nigerian, we talked about this on Saturday, the Nigerian central bank is forcing banks to close accounts of those who don't sign up for their BVN, which is their bank verification number. And you need to give up biometric data and attach it to your bank account. Sorry for hitting that. With a fingerprint and a retina scan. So here we go with the eyes again. The eye seems to be taking hold as far as verification and all this stuff goes. And so that requires your fingerprint and your facial recognition, your retina scan, all that, and it'll attach to your bank account, basically latching you to an online identity, a digital identity to your account. You see how they're making that transition into that? And so we've talked about how first they bribe people, then they make it mandatory. Well, Nigeria has hit the mandatory thing where they said, hey, you either sign up for this or you don't participate with a bank account. Always under the guise of fraud protection, security, and verification, of course. They said that this transition is because there's so much fraud in Nigeria that we need to do this. No, it's just like we've talked about with the e-verify system, where they said, "Oh no, this is to stop mass migration and the immigration stuff, and to make sure that they're not taking jobs away from Americans." And what it has nothing to do with that. It's a Trojan horse. They always try and spruce it up with positive benefits, when in reality it has nothing to do with benefiting us at all. But new in Nigeria is coming the ID and bank card combination. This thing just keeps getting closer and closer. So Nigeria is set to combine their national ID and their bank card into one. So basically, like in America, if you pull out your driver's license to pay, you would pull out your driver's license to pay for your groceries or something. That's how they're rolling with this thing. This is working in tandem with the ID for Africa program, which is basically a branch off of the World Bank's ID4D program. Now, we've talked about this thing before. This thing, it's been in development for years, but it kind of started taking steam in 2020. Shock, right? Nigeria they're working with this ID4D program to reach 100 million digital IDs, as that's the World Bank target for this. And so if we read a little bit further on this, we'll get an idea of what's going on. You can see with 100 million digital national IDs, that's what the NIN basically means, now issued and counting, it remains to be seen if the country will meet the World Bank's recommendation of enrolling 148 million people into the digital ID by June 2024. That's probably why they made this jump with saying we'll close your bank account if you don't do this, because they're trying to hit that number, which that's a good way of doing it. You got to give them credit for that. It's evil, but it's genius. Although Pantami said in June last year that ID for Africa 2020 that the country was well on course of the target, the digital ID project in Nigeria has funding from the World Bank, of course, which set some target for the country with a partnership concluded in 2020 through the institution's ID4D program. If you guys don't know, one of the main funders behind this, of course, is the World Bank, but it's also the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and a bunch of other ones. We don't have time to go through all of those, but there is a bunch. And when I say a bunch, I mean not a bushel, but a bunch of people that are no good behind that. What is my phone doing? Sorry. And of course, like I said, the goal is to get as many people off of cash as possible. That is the main goal. They want people off of fiat because it's untrackable, it's untraceable. You can do things behind the scenes with it. You can counter taxes with it. You can counter fees and all this stuff with it. They're trying to get people off that. They want something 100% trackable linked to you. They want your biometric data attached and the money attached to that so they can track everything. It's all about watching, always watching us. They always want to know what we are doing, thinking, saying, who we're talking to, where we're going, what we're buying, restricting what we're buying, all that stuff. We're seeing various scenarios and offerings to facilitate this, and 2020 was a big one. If you guys don't remember, 2020 had the coin shortage, and a lot of businesses started going cashless because they thought the virus is going to be on the money. We can't take the money. They're doing all this stuff as far as the 2020 goes about trying to get people off of cash. Staying home and ordering everything online was not only a giant wealth transfer to places like Amazon and Walmart, but it was getting people hooked more onto just buying digitally with trackable money. That's what that was about. There we go. But now we got something interesting coming out. Now, I've been sitting on this for a while, but again, I just got to find the moment that I can talk about it. Reverse ATMs. I got a little news clip here. Check this out.
Things are changing fast in this digital world, so much so that a growing number of businesses will not even accept cash anymore.
Yeah, they are starting to set up reverse ATMs. It quickly turns cash into a prepaid debit card to be used on the fly. And Dre Clark explains from New York City. Dre, I've never heard of this. Mitch has never heard of this. What's it about?
Yeah, you know, I never heard of it either until I read about it last night. It's relatively new, but it's slowly but surely catching on. You know, cash is really still king, but reverse ATMs are definitely the way of the future as more businesses look for ways to go cashless. Here at Madison Square Garden in Midtown Manhattan, they already have machines inside the arena that can actually convert your cash into a debit card here. Now, here you can see exactly how it works. You load money into a kiosk like you see here, and within seconds, you can get a receipt confirming your conversion and a prepaid active card. Many of the prepaid cards are either MasterCard or Visa, and you can use them anywhere where those cards are accepted. Some kiosks may actually charge you a $5 fee for the card. Meanwhile, amusement parks, fast food restaurants, and many professional sports venues are already using the cash to card kiosks, and you'll start seeing more of them in airports and on college campuses. Business owners say they like the kiosk because it helps prevent theft and robberies, and it stops the spread of germs that can really be found on a lot of money that's downright dirty. Now, many people started going cashless during the pandemic because they did not want to touch money and coins, fearing they could contract the virus. Meanwhile, cities across the country like San Francisco, D.C., Philly, and New York, they actually have bans on cashless businesses. So business owners, by law, cannot refuse to accept any cash from a customer. Also, get this, the FDIC says up to 5% of U.S. households, or 6 million Americans, are considered unbanked. That means they don't have either a checking or savings account. They prefer to deal in strictly cash. So yeah, guys, it's relatively new, but here in New York City and other places around the country, this is the way of the future.
So you caught that last part when he's talking about the percentage of people who aren't linked to bank accounts. They like to do strictly cash. That's one of their targets. They want them tracked. They don't want anybody to be able to avoid this system. Now with the reverse ATMs, I mean, they will try anything to get people. I mean, most people, when they go to an ATM, they're trying to get cash out. Well, in this way, they're trying to get people onto a card because guess what? That card can be tracked. It can be traced. And so we're seeing, again, this transition away from cash. And you even saw on there, he was talking about the 2020 thing with the germs and the money is dirty. And I don't know about you guys, but in my town, I'm seeing more and more stores and restaurants that are going cashless. They'll put a sign right on the front door that says we are cashless. I actually, when I was doing food delivery, I actually went in and I asked one, I said, if somebody comes in and they want to pay for something with cash, will you guys accept it? And they said they don't even have any cash in the building. They will not accept it. They will actually turn away the customer because they refuse to take cash. And we're going to start seeing more and more of that. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, that hurts the business. It does. It does. But when we start seeing more and more of these stores doing that, they're trying to lock out customers. They're trying to lock people out who refuse to play the game. We're going to see this continue to try and like bottleneck people into getting into this system. There's the bribery stuff. We've talked about that. Then they're trying to corral people with going cashless stores and all this stuff, reverse ATMs. They're trying any way possible to get people off of this money. Soon it'll just be, well, you either sign up for this or you don't get a bank account, like what we just saw in Nigeria. And so we continue to see this, and all of this is leading up to the coming mark of the beast. All of this is leading up to Revelation 13, and there's multiple aspects to that. And we're going to kind of talk a little bit about this mark of the beast. We're going to get in depth with the two sides of it, because like I was saying, everybody likes to focus on the buy and sell, but there is another aspect to it. So we're going to talk a little bit about the mark of the beast and what's going on with this. And I believe we're seeing development of that with Micron Biomedical's vitamin patch. This thing is interesting. Check this out. Oh boy. So this is a company called Micron Biomedical. They're in Atlanta, and they just developed this vitamin patch. They successfully concluded their first ever trial that can be used on children as young as 9 months old. 9 months old. And guess who funded this trial for Micron Biomedical? If you guessed Ronald McDonald, you'd be wrong. I'm sorry. It was actually the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They did fund this trial. Now, if you look at this thing, I'll throw it back up again. If you look at this thing, you see like the little patch thing, and it's got all those little, I don't want to say that specific word. It's got little pokies on it. Kind of looks a little bit like a palisade, if you catch my drift. Now, like I said, there's two aspects to this mark of the beast. If we take a look at Revelation 13:16, it says, he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, and that no one may buy or sell except the one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Now, everybody focuses on that buy and sell part. But when you pledge allegiance to the beast, it specifically talks about how you can't be saved. There's no salvation available for you anymore. And so when you look at this thing, it looks similar to a quantum dot tattoo, which I believe is either going to be the mark. It's not there yet. There's no mark of the beast yet. There's not even a beast yet here. Well, behind the scenes, the Antichrist is there, but you know what I mean. But it looks like a quantum dot tattoo. And when you look at, this is a quantum dot tattoo. It's got the same little pokies on the strip, and you just put it on like a Band-Aid, and you've got a way to read the code underneath. You got a way to read the data underneath. Now, with this quantum dot tattoo, you can load it up with a bunch of data, kind of like your e-wallet, your digital ID, your CBDC, Elon Musk's X app. You might be able to load these things that, well, you can. They're talking about how they continue to get more and more data on these things, which you got to remember, whatever we see now, they've got at least 10 years advanced in technology. So guaranteed they've already got this thing ready. But if you look at this thing close up, this is the quantum dot tattoo. Dots are loaded onto a micro pokey patch, a square with an array of tiny pokies that deliver nanoparticles into the skin in a pattern like a square, circle, etc., and then dissolve after delivery. So when you look at the quantum dot, and then you look at this thing, it looks pretty similar. Now, quantum dot will match the buy and sell part with all the data. What would this possibly have to do with the mark? Like I was saying, everybody knows the verse about buy and sell, but I want to focus on the aspect of why you will not be able to gain salvation once you take this thing. When you take the mark, it's not only going to be your ID, wallet, access key, all this stuff to buy and sell, but that thing is going to alter, change, remove DNA and your bloodline that won't make you human anymore. That's the important part of this thing. That's the difference, because I'm sorry, we can get to the point of you can't buy or sell without something, without it being the mark. We can get to that point. But it's this part where it doesn't make you human anymore that things start to get different. All it takes is the alteration of 1%. That's it. You alter the DNA, you alter the human bloodline by 1%, and you will not be human anymore. That's all it takes. It's nothing drastic. It's nothing ridiculous. It just takes the smallest little thing. This is why Christ came as both 100% God and 100% man. That human bloodline is what covers us for salvation. So if you remove yourself from that, it doesn't work. That's why he had to come as 100% both. And if we get removed, it doesn't cover us. This is why anyone who receives that mark cannot be saved. So you're pledging your allegiance to the beast. You take that mark, it's going to alter you. It's going to take that away. Now, we're told in Matthew 24, as in the days of Noah. We continue to hear that when it comes to these end times. A lot of people reference it. They quote it. Well, it's going to be like the days of Noah. Well, there's a part of that again, we're getting back to the days of Noah when it comes to the mark. Because remember, the big reason why God flooded the earth, yeah, there was rampant sin going on everywhere, but he flooded the earth because the Nephilim had begun to corrupt the human bloodline by breeding with the humans. God understood that he had to wipe out the unclean. He had to purify the human bloodline by keeping Noah and his family, who were still pure, keep them going. But he had to wipe the slate clean. That's why he flooded the earth, is because the Nephilim were here already perverting and destroying the human bloodline. So if he sent Christ down, it wouldn't work for a lot of people. Remember, he came and died. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. And so it's very important that we understand that. So when you're talking about the days of Noah, that's also referencing going back to corrupting the bloodline. Satan's trying to do the same thing. He's trying to do the same thing. He's just trying to get, just like we talk about all the time with all the technology and all the philosophy and everything of these AI guys and the WEF guys and stuff, how it's all back to Babel. We're getting back to Babel. We're getting back to the Babel. Well, the days of Noah, Satan's trying to get back there by corrupting it. And we know that Mark is going to accomplish it. That's why this thing is so important. That's why you can't be saved if you accept that. It's going to pull you out of the ability to do it. God had to basically reset. You want to talk about a great reset? That was the original great reset, honestly. He had to reset the human bloodline, and Noah and his family were still pure. The mark will do the same, just as in the days of Noah. So when you see the quantum dot tattoo, which I'll throw this back up again, when you see that thing, it looks similar or basically identical to that vitamin patch. So you're looking at, even at the just iron meets clay, really. You're talking about, where is it? Right there. You're talking about loading digital information on that, and you're talking about altering things on that. So, now, why I believe the mark will be the quantum dot tattoo is because the quantum dot goes both on and in the skin, which if you want to look at Revelation 13:16, it actually tells us that. Now, there's often the question of, will the mark go on the skin? Will it be like a branding, or will it go in the skin? Well, the answer is yes. And so what we do is we'll take a look at this again. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads. Well, the key right there is mark. The key right there is mark. And what we want to do is we want to actually take this back to the Greek and take a look at what the mark stands in Greek. So if we look at this, this would be, a stamp or impress. So here we go. I got to try and do this. Charagma, which is a stamp or impress, which is a brand or mark, was originally any impress on a coin or seal. Now, this is where it gets crazy. Later became the identification marker. Well, if we take a look again at Revelation 13 here, no one have the mark, the name of the beast or the number of his name. That sure sounds like an identification marker, like with the owner's unique brand mark, the name of the beast or the number of his name. So we're looking at that. And that says stamp impress or stamp mark. And then it also goes from the same as karax, which is a scratch or etching. Etching. Wow. It sounded like a broken record. Etching. So there's your on. There's your on. You got your stamp. You got your impress. You got your scratch. But let's take a look at Sharax. I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry. Which is a pointed stake, a rampart, a pale or stake, or a palisade. See those little pointies? That's a palisade. You see the pointies? That's a palisade. More pointies. That's a palisade. So you've got the mark which these palisades lay on, and then you've got the palisades themselves. So this also comes from the word sharasso, to sharpen, to a point, a stake, palisade. So when you look at the Greek for mark, you get both. You literally get both an impress or a scratch of a brand mark, an identification number of the owner, and you get a pointed stake, a palisade. It's both. It goes in and on. And when you look at both this and this, it goes in and on. That's why I believe that the quantum dot tattoo will be the mark of the beast. So when it comes to answering the question of, well, will it go on the skin or will it go in the skin? The answer is yes. It'll be both. And Revelation 13 actually tells us that, because when you look at mark, it tells us both. It matches in more ways than not. And so when you do it, both Charagma and Sharax or Karax they reference scratching, etching, engraving, and also a pointed stake or palisade. So when you look at things like that Micron vitamin patch, I almost said something that I shouldn't have. When you look at that, and then if you were to team that up with the quantum dot tattoo, you would have a mark and something that goes in that would fit both your digital information, and alter, it could, got to be careful, could alter your bloodline. The quantum dot does not only fit both Greek versions of the word mark, but it also will store your digital data for buy and sell. It can alter your DNA and bloodline, removing the ability for salvation. So this Micron vitamin patch is interesting, especially since who funded the thing. Now, of course, they're working on a bunch of different ones. There's other ones out there, but that one looks very, very similar to the quantum dot, and it's just like a Band-Aid. It's going to be something so easy, so simple, where it's not going to be like a big deal. The mark could literally be something that you order online and it gets sent to you, and then say you go to the image of the beast and you activate it, and that would be your pledge of allegiance right there. It could be something. I'm not saying that's what it is, but I'm just saying that it could be that simple. You could literally pull up Elon's X app, order one, and then activate the thing at the image of the beast. It could be that simple. But it's that activation, that pledging, that's what will get you. That's what will get you. So, all right. Just wanted to talk about that because, some people have questions about that, and I think it's interesting, especially when you go into the background of these things and you take a look at all that. So now We're going to kind of take a hard left turn, and we're going to change subjects. I don't really have a way to do this, so help me out, Paul Blart. All right, we're going to segue right on into talking about Amazon's Sidewalk project. The Sidewalk project. This thing is just more dystopian thrown on more dystopian. But yeah, like I said, it's always about watching. It's always about tracking, always about keeping eyes. So the Amazon Sidewalk is a project built to connect all devices and households together under one network. This is about taking all of your Internet of Things devices and trying to connect them all together under one network. Now, they're connected in ways right now as far as connecting to the internet and whatnot, but they're trying to connect the devices themselves together. So this is where it gets, again, dystopian. It will allow full surveillance not only with the Internet of Things, but also the Internet of Bodies technology. I'll just go ahead and show you this video that explains it, and then we'll talk about it. Check this out.
Amazon Sidewalk is a shared network that allows connected devices to continue working amidst disruptions and with longer ranges. This technology is now available for developers to integrate into devices and accessories, opening the door to new solutions and innovations the world has never seen. Sidewalk is a network by the people, for the people, made safe by the latest in internet security technology. So what does that mean, and how does it work? Amazon Sidewalk uses a variety of wireless technologies, one of which is LoRa. LoRa is a low-power, long-range solution that allows any Sidewalk device within range to maintain a network connection. Select devices serving as bridges pool together a tiny portion of internet bandwidth to create one expansive network. Why is that useful? Say you're out of town and you want to remotely turn on your outdoor lights. If your home network connection is lost, so is that communication. But with Amazon Sidewalk, your lights still receive that message using the shared Sidewalk network. Additionally, if you drop your keys on your morning run, Sidewalk can alert you of their approximate location. It can also detect motion, track packages, sense air quality and water leaks, monitor security. The possibilities are truly endless. With Amazon now opening up Sidewalk to developers, expect to see a growing number of tech aimed at making the world a safer, smarter, and more connected planet.
Isn't that wonderful? No. Yeah, so this is, oh my word. Like I said, when you look at the spyware stuff that we have now, all your Internet of Things, your smart consoles, your smart TVs, your smartphones, your smart refrigerators, your smart everything, that stuff's all connected to their system. It's all connected via the internet. But what they want to do with this is they not only want to connect it that way, but they want to connect all devices to make a blanket network for everything else to run through, to follow through. This thing is crazy. So this technology is taking your already your spyware stuff that you already have and creating a tracking system powered by all the other spyware projects around it. And as you can see, if you drop your keys and it's hooked up to Sidewalk, you could find a way to track them and pick them up again. So it's always going to be watching. It's always going to be tracking. It's always going to know where your keys are at. And if your keys are on the move, most likely you have them, and it's going to be tracking that. Now just think of all the wearable stuff that you'll have. Your smartwatches, your Fitbits, anything like that. That's also going to be hooked up. It's just another way to track you. If you have a wearable product, or say your car, that's another aspect, is connected to Sidewalk. By passing through connected networks, it's now going to keep full track of you. So as you pass through this network that's all the way around, it's always going to have visual, it's always going to have GPS, it's always going to be watching you. It'll have GPS, audio, and video surveillance keeping tabs on you at all times. This is playing in part to the 15-minute city. This is playing in part to that. As we know, they've already got like smart street lights, the biometric scanners when you walk in the stores, a lot of them like Walmart, My local HEB has now got one outside of their door that's usually close to eye level. And so it's there to scan your entire face as you walk in. It's a way to keep track. And yes, even streetlights have cameras and microphones. So if you're just walking down the sidewalk, it can record the conversation that you're having too. Amazon Sidewalk will also be hooked up to facial recognition technology. So here we go again with the biometric stuff. This is where we go along with they're trying to get more eye retinas. On Saturday, I played a video of a scene from the Minority Report. When you walk into a mall, when you walk into a store, it scans your eyes and it personalized ads to the point where the advertisement is even speaking your name because it has your registry on in their database. And so this is just another system that's going to be applied to that. When I was talking with Tom, the theme was they're switching to eyes now. Everything is about eyes, retina, eyes. I mean, of course, all throughout history, we got random stuff that always applies to eyes. You've got the all-seeing eye, the eye of providence. You got the eye of Horus as well. We know the Antichrist, mortal wound, eye. It's always eye, and they just continue to take a shot at eyes. That's a bad thought. Never mind. Don't even think about that. But that's what they're doing. They're connecting eyes to everything, and they want these biometric eye scanners at all times, and they want to attach that to profiles. And so this massive push for facial recognition verification is starting to show its face in being the database for programs like Sidewalk. We've talked about the databases, the simulation programs that they have, your digital twin, where they've built somebody that they know more about you than you know about yourself. They've got DNA hooked up to it. They've got your health stuff hooked up to it. They've got your patterns, what you say, what you think, your ties to politics, ties to religion, ties to whatever sports team you like. They've got everything about you. It's a sim program where they've built a digital version of you. And this Sidewalk project is going to tap into that. It's going to collect more data about you to get it hooked up. Because as we know, Amazon is just a strong, independent company that's not attached to any government entity at all, right? Right? Okay. So with this Amazon Sidewalk, with the network coverage overlap of the network, it creates a blanket network that will cut. How many times can I say network in one sentence? That then covers everyone, completely removing privacy, as all movements and speech will be captured at multiple angles. So if you guys don't know, if you're just walking down like a suburban sidewalk and you have houses that have Ring cameras, it's watching you. It's keeping tabs on you. It's listening to the conversation. If you're talking to somebody on the phone, that Ring is not only watching you, but it's picking up your conversation. And each house that you pass by that has one of those Ring cameras on there, it's keeping tabs of where you're walking, the direction that you're going. Not only is it gathering that information, but it's gathering how you walk. It's if you've got an injury of some type, it's going to know if you have a certain walking pattern. They're going to gather that information and apply it to the digital twin that they're doing. And that's not just some joke. I've played clips of. They had a CERN conference not too long ago where they were talking about digital twins. That's right. CERN is involved with this too. The Atom Smashers. Isn't that great? So this is real stuff. And they're trying to connect everything. Again, it's always about always watching. You know that song? It always feels like somebody's watching me. Well, that's basically what it is there's Big Brother's always going to be watching you. If you want to talk about predictive programming, The Truman Show is one of them, where they've got the eye in the sky with all the different cameras and microphones that's always watching Truman. Well, we're Truman, and they're the eye in the sky that's always watching. So that's how, I mean, it's unbelievable that we've gotten to this point where they're able to do this. I mean, they're able to do this, and they are doing this. Now, Amazon claims it can cover over 90% of the U.S. population, including those in moderately rural areas. So they're talking about how they've got 90% of the U.S. population already covered with the sidewalk network. Do we believe it? I tend to. I actually do, because like I said, whatever technology that we're seeing now, we know they've got something at least 10 years advanced that we don't see. So when they say they got 90% covered, I tend to believe them on that number. All data collected without consent all data will be collected without consent. There we go. And will collect personal and sensitive data like movement patterns. We just talked about that. Your life routines. If you always walk in a certain route, it'll collect that. If you drive to work a certain way, if you always stop at the same coffee shop on the way to band practice, it'll keep track of that, and it's going to learn your patterns. As well as it will gather your passwords, if you're talking about passwords or using that stuff, private conversations that you don't want people to know about. Yeah, if you're talking to somebody about that rash that you're trying to hide from people, it knows you have a rash. Just saying. And I also want to talk about this because I've heard a lot of people try and come up with a way around the AI deepfake voice, because we've talked a lot about the AI being able to mimic somebody's voice. We've talked about how there was the scam somebody was trying to pull where they acted like they abducted somebody's daughter and they had the voice of the daughter via an AI deepfake. And I'm hearing a lot of people saying, well, that's why we have code words. Like if we say a specific code word, like say I'm talking to my brother or something, and I don't know it's actually him, I'll say, what's the code word or something. Well, that won't work because they're always watching, always listening. And if you guys have a code word, they're going to know that code word. It's going to know what it is, and it will just say it because it has learned it. So that's why that system won't work with that. So I don't want to burst anybody's bubbles, but I do want to give you guys warning that if you guys have some code word set up, it's not going to work. It'll learn it by watching you. It's going to understand what your code word is. So you got to figure out some other thing. I don't have an answer for you. But you'll have to figure something else out. Also, don't forget that Amazon's Ring system has deals with over 400 police departments across the United States to grant them access to Ring video and audio. That's right, the authorities can bust into your Ring video and your audio for whatever reason they deem to be enough, because who knows what they want to do anymore. So you're having authority already getting in there. So not only do you got Big Brother and you got Big Tech that's got that, but now you got local authorities as well. And I can only think when you're talking about persecution, I mean, if you want to talk about persecution, whether it's you're just a conservative and they're trying to dig something up on you, or if you're a Christian and they're trying to dig something up on you about that, they just bust into that. They can find information that you're smart. This smart stuff has just happened to capture about you. So this is going to play a part in persecution, is this spyware stuff and being connected to Sidewalk and all that. So, but it makes me wonder, as far as the Sidewalk program, if it will connect to Dallas Independent School District's new AI pre-crime rollout. That's right, they're putting in an AI monitoring system which will have a pre-crime analysis procedure, and it's going to be watching the kids in school. The Dallas Independent School District is partnering with DeVista, and this project will use the Heimdall AI system to monitor each student and alert the school authority, catch this, alert the school authority if a student deviates from his usual baseline behavior. So if you had questions about who cares if it's collecting data on your usual route, how you move, your speech pattern, all that stuff, that's what this AI pre-crime system is going to be basing everything off of. It's going to be monitoring, collecting data on your usual habits, your usual speech, your usual movements. And if you start deviating from that, it's going to consider you to be a threat. That's why it matters. That's why they're trying to collect as much data as possible, because they're trying to get this pre-crime system into place. Again, this is another Minority Report situation. If you want to get into, again, predictive programming, because that's what it was about. It was about a department that detects pre-crime. And that's what they're trying to do with this AI system. And by collecting all this data about your patterns of life, they can do it. And they're going to be putting this in for kids in schools. This is a biometric AI surveillance system that is utilizing pre-crime algorithm. The school district is the same one who was busing kids off campus to vitamin sites in 2021. This is the same school that was sending kids 16 and up, busing them to get vitamins in 2021. No surprise there, right? Dallas Independent School District currently has 141,000 students. So you're looking at 141,000 kids who are going to get monitored all day long by AI biometric scanning systems in the schools that they attend. Ay, caramba. So who is DeVista? Because I wanted to know who DeVista is, this company that they're partnering with. And, oh, it's great. Let's take a look. This is DeVista. Take a look at it. Industry segments they serve. School safety from kindergarten to 12 years old, or year 12 to 12 years old, to year 12, colleges and universities. It also does corporate security operations. So all your businesses, they can team up with the same AI biometric pre-crime system, as well as law enforcement is working with it as well. Boy, oh boy. Can you imagine when this starts rolling out even more than it already is? Let's keep taking a look at what is going on with DeVista. Who we are. Let's go to the About Us. DeVista is a dynamic and innovative company that originated from the Department of Homeland Security. Oh, man. Is anybody shocked? Is anybody surprised by that? Ay, ay, ay. Originated from the Department of Homeland Security Emeritus Center of Excellence in 2017, leveraging our extensive knowledge in machine learning algorithms and data visualizations. Oh boy. Let's continue. Let's take a look, scroll a little bit further down. Our story. DeVista is the pioneer of delivery of artificial intelligence and data visualization solutions for the physical security and law enforcement industries and schools now. DeVista's goal is to help organizations fully automate their physical security operations by continuously orchestrating and dynamically mobilizing their safety and security apparatus and personnel in response to developing events in the anticipation of emerging and future trends. This is about the pre-crime. This is about guessing what's going to happen. This is about taking a look at what your trends are, and if you don't play or if you fall out of them, it will consider you a risk. And this is going to be used with AI. The AI is going to be teaming up to accomplish this. Now, DeVista was born out of the visual analytics for command control and interoperability environments. You can see the abbreviation. I'm not going to say it. Center, a U.S. Department of Homeland Security, still, Center of Excellence. Let's see. The mission to focus on creating new methodologies, tools, and applications to transform the vast amounts of data generated and collected by the various facets of DHS into usable and actionable information for a range of applications, from public safety. So there's your school. Are they going to be applying this to your public streets and whatnot? I'm pretty sure China's got a system similar to this. And Homeland Security to healthcare systems and logistics. So you're talking about collecting health data as well. And we've discussed that already about as far as the digital twins and what they're doing with that. So you got people from the DHS who are hooking this stuff up to businesses, law enforcement, schools, and I can only imagine hooking it up to your Internet of Things out there in your 15-minute cities and whatnot. And it's AI driven. It's collecting your movement patterns and your behavior patterns. It's guessing your trends, and it's going to apply pre-crime on top of it. Could you imagine? Could you imagine living in that, in an environment where no matter what, AI is watching you and it's going to guess if you're going to do something bad or not? That's what they're working on. That sure sounds like full control from the beast. Just imagine when demons take possession of those AI systems. Yeah, we're at this point now where what we thought was just science fiction, we're at this point where we thought it was just stories and comic books, where it's coming alive. I mean, this is like some Iron Man stuff that's coming about as far as always watching. So that's the Amazon Sidewalk and the DaVista system that's getting applied to schools now. It's crazy. But the thing is, when we're talking about always watching, you got to remember who's always watching not only us, but always watching them as well. You guys ever think about that? Because I know we talk a lot about the surveillance and the tracking that they're applying to us. But guess who's watching them? Guess who has pre-crime of his own where he knows every step from here into the end that they're going to take, every breath they're going to take, every word they're going to speak, every hair on their head, everything? Well, that's God, because he knows the beginning and the end. He knows what we're going to do. He knows how we're going to do it. And he's got full eyes on all these people that are bringing in these ridiculous dystopian systems. He's got eyes on everybody who's developing that beast system that we're watching come to life right now. And that should bring us comfort. Because again, I know we talk all the time about how, this would be, we get called fearmongers, we get called doom and gloom and stuff like that when we talk about all these bad systems that are coming into place to track us. But you got to remember, God's eyes are much, much stronger and bigger at tracking us and protecting us than those systems will ever have on us. So take comfort in that, guys. Take comfort in that. And so we're going to switch. We're going to finish this off with bracing for June. I'm not going to... when I was originally going to just kind of mention this and talk about this, I was going to bring up things like the companies and the ESG and the CEI and all that stuff. And I didn't want to take it in that direction. I wanted to take it more in the direction of churches and Christians falling prey to this. We could sit here and I could go for another 2 hours listing off all the companies that are going to, or they're already participating, or they're going to participate in what the Alphabet stuff that's coming in June. I mean, you guys already know about the Target stuff, the Ford stuff, the Bud Light stuff. Lego's doing their thing. Disney's doing their thing. Kohl's is doing their thing. The outdoor company, I can't remember who they are. They're doing their thing. All these companies are doing this stuff. They have been. I mean, we talked about that with the Target thing where people were, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with, boycotting Target. I'm with you there. But they've been doing it. We talked about how they had the binding underwear last year. I mean, this is nothing new. It's just getting pushed further out there. And when June comes around, I just have a feeling, I'm just sensing that this is going to be a dramatic turn of events compared to last June and the Junes prior. I just have a feeling this is going to be a very, very large drop on those who oppose the alphabet stuff. I do believe that. But I want to take this again from the angle of churches and Christians that are going to be doing, that are going to fall to this, because we're going to start seeing, and I've been trying to get the point across, the aspect across of the spiritual warfare side of what this alphabet stuff is. And it's mystery religion coming into play. This is a part of mystery religion. When you take the woke stuff, you take the alphabet stuff, and you start seeing Christians fall prey to the point of allowing it into the church or not disagreeing with it, not saying that it's a sin. I know people who have said that they were Christian and they participated in a pride marching thing. And it's just, we're getting to the point where this is the falling away. This is the great falling away where we're going to start seeing the veil lifted on who's true and who's not. And something that I came across, I don't have a picture of it. I'm sure you guys have seen it. But I saw the thing of the pride flag on the set of The Chosen. And I saw many, many comments by believers and people who say they're believers. I don't know their hearts, so I'll just say both. That were, what's the word? Shocked that was there. They were shocked because they believe that the Chosen series is a Christian TV show. When we've done countless times, I've pointed out that it's not. And then on top of all those people who were shocked by it, there was countless people who found any way possible to defend it. Have you noticed that? When I'm not attacking people, but I'm just gonna focus on Christians specifically. We tend to hold tight to things that we really like, even though it's something that we need to let go of. And you've got a lot of Christians that no matter what information comes out about, and we're just talking about The Chosen now, but this could be applied to many things, where it doesn't matter what information comes out about it, they will reject it all because they want to hang on to that show developed by Mormons, featuring a Masonic Catholic who practices necromancy, and a director that says the LDS Church and the Christian Church worship the same God, and has made fun of Jesus Christ on the cross and all that stuff. They don't care. They want to defend it. And this is the spirit of mystery. This is the great falling away. This is where you start seeing cracks form. You start seeing the veil lifted. You start to see where their heart truly lies. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and judge hearts. Not going to do it. But you start to see a revealing of who's true and who's not. And this month of June is going to reveal a lot. So when we brace for the onslaught of the alphabet agenda, the mystery religion that comes with it, that's pushing it, pay attention to those around you, specifically people that you read, follow, listen to, watch, and see where they go, whether they come out and support something, or remember, silence is deafening. Just like when the Roe v. Wade thing came out, I specifically paid attention to all the women who call themselves preachers to see what they said, and every single one stayed silent. The silence was deafening. They did not support the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and that tells a lot. And so when we go into this in this month, pay attention to that, because like I said, we're going to be entering the time of the falling away. There's no revival that's coming on this side of the rapture. That's going to happen on the other side, and it'll be the greatest revival the world has ever seen. But when we have stuff like this, and this is nothing new, this has been talked about a lot, but I just want to bring it up. When you got things like this, according to the Barna survey, only 44% of professing Christians believe Jesus lived a sinless life. Only 44% of professing Christians believe that Jesus lived a sinless life. What you're witnessing is that false gospel getting preached. Because if Jesus didn't live a sinless life, his sacrifice can't save. So they don't even have not only do they not have the basic foundation of Christianity and the gospel correct, but they don't even know who the true Jesus is at that point. This is where it starts getting, I'll say muddy, because again, I'm not God, I can't judge a person's heart. But if you only got 44% that truly believe like the basic principle of the gospel, that's rough. This is why I continue to believe, and I have no problem saying it. I've taken heat in the past for it, but this is what I believe, that there's going to be more people left behind that believed they were saved than actual believers raptured. I do. I believe this. Because when you've got mystery religion out there that is attracting millions to the NAR belief system that preaches a false Jesus, a false gospel, a Jesus that cannot save, you're going to have a lot of people. You're going to have a lot of people who believe that they're saved because they know the story, they've heard the story, and then they just repeated some hollow words. They just repeated the sinner's prayer without any belief behind it whatsoever. And that's what they're being taught is all it takes to be saved. And then they just go about their regular lives believing that they're covered. You know, to some people that might sound harsh, but this is the reality of it. Narrow is the way. And there's a false gospel out there that just alters the slightest stuff, just alters the tiniest things, just like Satan just altered the tiniest words in Eden to Eve, and it changes everything. Just like when we were talking about how you change 1% of the human DNA, and that's enough to blow it all up. You just change the smallest thing, and it alters everything. Now, if we continue on with the survey, it says 44% believe the Bible is unambiguous about abortion. So again, we're starting to see more of the aspect of Christians and people who say they're Christians believe that abortion is okay. And I mean, we've talked about some CCM guys who believe that as well. Then you've got 48% believe that human life is sacred. Only 48%. Then you've got 63% believe God is the basis of all truth. Only 63% of professing Christians believe that God is the basis of all truth. And only 4%, this is probably the number that you've heard before, only 4% of U.S. adults hold to a biblical worldview. So like I talked about last time, when we were talking about the Target stuff, I showed you the Satanist who was designing totes and shirts and stuff for Target, and his message about how Satan is a representation of tolerance, of equality, of love, of comfort, and everything. And then I showed you a post that somebody posted on Facebook when they attended both a Catholic service and a Lutheran service that also spoke about giving the same message of tolerance, love, and comfort. That's the mystery religion that is combining. They're combining. You literally have the Satanist and you have the Catholic Church. Opposite ends of the spectrum are a lot closer than people think because they are preaching the same message today. That is mystery religion. It's bringing in the cultural, it's bringing in the wokeism, it's bringing in the alphabet, it's bringing in the love, the hippie Jesus. Whenever you have the crowd that says, do not judge, when you're sitting there trying to not point out somebody's sin, but send warning about something that other Christians should stay away from. That's that hippie Jesus. That's that hippie gospel that is now being preached by both Satanists and Catholics. And so when we get into June and we see this alphabet stuff, pay attention to what churches, what pastors, what teachers, what speakers are talking about love and tolerance and acceptance rather than what we should be. This is what happens when a love-focused, tolerant of sin society compromises the Bible for entertainment and for comfort. Mystery religion is taking control of the church out there. How many churches now do you see have signs that say love is love or put on the pride flag or the trans flag or the BLM flag, or they avoid the subject altogether? Again, silence is deafening, guys. Silence is deafening. The veil is being lifted on who is real and who is not right now. This is the falling away. And when we see things like these revivals, quote unquote, and awakenings, that's also a term that you guys should raise a red flag whenever great awakening or something like that appear. We should stand back at a distance to really see what is going on with it. And we've talked about it before. The Asbury revival. That was no revival at all. That was a conjuring fest that was going on in there. Sean Foich, we've talked about him before too, with his awakenings, his revivals, when he's going around preaching an NAR gospel that's a false gospel that cannot save. We've talked about all this stuff before. And so when we get into June, brace for impact. There's going to be a lot of stuff flying around. Pray for each other. Watch over each other. If you know people that just can't handle seeing any more of that stuff, don't continue to throw it at them. They know what's going on. Encourage each other, pray for each other, uplift each other, because this is going to be a hard time. And I'm telling you guys, I'm giving you warning. These companies out there, and we've talked about it before, when you've got the ESG and the CEI going behind it, and you've got people like Larry Fink of BlackRock that says we are force changing the behaviors of people and companies. And we've seen the stuff that's been going on lately, just this past year, as far as the alphabet stuff. This June's going to be a big one. So be prepared to see almost every company, every business, every company, and many, many, many churches that are going to be promoting and supporting the alphabet stuff. I just want to give you guys a heads up. I want you guys to be prepared, because I don't want you to get blindsided. I really don't. You guys know me. I'm blunt about things, so I'm being blunt here. This is going to be a rough one. And we need to stand together. We need to not stand together in the way of like rise, because we're not going to rise up. But what I'm saying is stand together and uplift each other. Continue to pray for each other. Help lift each other's spirits during this time, because it's going to be rough. And like I said, pay attention to the churches, the pastors, the speakers, and see who is not speaking against it, but also those who are staying silent about it at the same time. So when we get into that, getting into this time, we've talked about the mystery of religion, the false gospel, and all that stuff. The main reason why we talk about all these things, all these crazy things that you think only comes from movies and comic books and science fiction, and we talk about the mystery of religion, and we talk about just, the mark of the beast that's going to be coming in the tribulation and everything like that. We talk about this stuff to give warning. And like I said, all throughout time, from the scriptural times, the biblical times, up until now, every generation has had commands built for their time. And we live in a blessed generation where, yeah, we're seeing crazy things happening. We're seeing the Antichrist beast system come to life. And we're seeing a lot of trials come our way. But it's a blessed generation because we know our blessed hope, the rapture, is going to be right around the corner. This is the season. No man knows the day or the hour, but he gives us signs to watch for those who are willing to watch for them, that will indicate the season of the rapture. And we're in it. Because right now, we're in the time, first time ever in the history of ever, that all the signs are converging at the same time. But the important thing is in 1948, Israel became a nation in one day, which that was the trigger point, because then at that moment, we just needed to watch for everything to converge. And we're living in the times where everything is now converging. That's why we know we're in the season of the rapture. That's why we know that our blessed hope is right around the corner. And if you want off this planet, if you want off this earth, you want to avoid the hell that is going to be unleashed upon this earth, you want to avoid the wrath of God, you want to avoid hell that contains torment and pain that our minds can't even comprehend. We can't even begin to explain for eternity. If you want to avoid all that and live your life for eternity in the presence of God's glory, a loving God that gives you a free gift of salvation, and you want to live in his presence in, again, a state that we can't even begin to fathom. Words cannot express how incredible it will be. Then Jesus Christ is the only way. He is the way, the truth, and the life. No one gets to the Father except through him. And he makes it easy for us. He makes it simple, not too simple, but it's not complicated at the same time. So if you want to escape that and you want to live your life in the presence of God's glory and in the arms of an incredible Savior, you do it with the simple steps of ABC. It's childlike trust. It's a childlike faith. A is you admit that you're a sinner. You admit that you fall short, that you have sinned, that you cannot reach the holiness, that the righteousness that God intends for us. You can't reach it. We fall short. We are born into sin. And you admit that. You come to the Lord with a repentant heart and admit that you fall short. That is step A, because it's through that repentance that you then believe that you need a Savior. And that's where B comes in. That's where you believe in Jesus Christ, the one and only Son of God. He came down 100% man, 100% God, lived the perfect, sinless life, died on the cross, and defeating death, he rose again on the third day. And he did that for you. He did that for me. He did that for anybody who chooses to believe in him. Now, that's not knowing. Knowing and believing are two different things, and this is something between you and God. But if you truly believe in him, he will save you. And then C, as you call upon the Lord, that is that prayer that you say to him where you say, Lord Jesus, I know I fall short. I know I have sinned. And I know I need you to come into my life and save me. I believe that you died and rose again for me, Lord Jesus. Come into my life and save me. If you truly believe in Jesus and you ask him to save you, he will save you. And that is something between you and God. But if you did it and you truly believe, welcome to the family of God. That's the most incredible thing. There's nothing, everything else pales in compared to accepting Jesus. So, all right, guys. I think that's it. Yep, that's going to be it. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. Thank you guys for being here. It was a good one. It was a good one. But yeah, guys, just pray for each other, be with each other, uplift each other spiritually as we get into this June time. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough, guys, but we can do it and continue to spread the gospel. Continue. Get somebody to Jesus. Every day, tell somebody about Jesus. What milkman, your dog, I don't care. Just tell somebody about Jesus. Because not only will you plant the seed, not only will you maybe answer a question from them, but it also feels good to be able to just share Jesus with somebody. So make that a routine and let Amazon Sidewalk and all of the spyware stuff see you spreading that gospel. So, yeah. But yeah, so if you guys can, like, share, subscribe, get this out to as many people as you can. It's not about views, not about butts and seats, but it is about getting the warning out to people, getting people to Jesus and Jesus to people. That's why we do this. That is the most important thing. Also, follow me, Rumble, Odyssey, Telegram. I just know one of these days I will get kicked off again. So make sure you guys follow me there. It's important that you guys have me on your backup channels and whatnot. Rumble is a backup channel that we'll be streaming to next time I get kicked off. Telegram, I'll let you guys know what's going on, announcements, news stuff, updates, everything like that. Let's see, what else am I missing? I'll be with Kurt on Thursday. So make sure you head over to Kurt's channel, Kurt Reed, on Thursday. That's going to be awesome. It's going to be a good time. All glory to Jesus there. Tomorrow, noon, bobbleheads. I got the June bobblehead coming out. And then also, if you guys would like to support the ministry, if you guys would like to support what I do, I have donation links down below. CashApp, Venmo, Give, Send, Go. I definitely appreciate your guys' support. I mean, more than you guys know. You guys help me be able to add a second show each week, so I'm thankful for that. And also, if you guys, your prayers as well, donate your prayers. I definitely appreciate that as well. So that's all I got. So I'm going to leave you guys here. You guys have a good week, and if the Lord does not come back by Saturday, I will see you here, same time, same place. All right, guys, peace out, and Maranatha.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.